So the question has come up, well, what is it you do when you're screwing around? Well, lately a lot of my screwing around has involved following other people around who are screwing around, and that becomes a form of screwing around in its own right. But typically I've also worked on my own model railroads. I love doing that, and also working on my cars and driving my cars around. I get a big kick out of that too, and all those things have sort of popped up in the shows. Not necessarily me working on those things, because I really haven't had the time or the space to do those things since getting, what would you say, forced into retirement. But one thing that I have done since getting forced into retirement is I've opened a recording studio. Now, my whole life has been about building movie soundtracks, and I still love building movie soundtracks, so I figured, well, what the heck? I'm going to build my own place for building movie soundtracks. So I thought we'd go over there and I'd show you Lab 6 Studio, my movie soundtrack recording studio.
Orders, all hands, man your battle stations.
The number one thing I do here at Lab 6 is make movie soundtracks. That's what I love to do. This is a soundtrack for Mel Hallback's film called Subconscious. It was the first film we mixed here at the studio.
It was the 1970s, and the Cold War was in full swing. Uncle Sam was in a pissing contest with the Soviets, a struggle for dominance that culminated in a combined arsenal of over 80,000 nuclear weapons.
But we can also do music here at Lab 6. I enjoy doing jazz. I've always just been a jazz fan. Haven't recorded a lot of music over the years because I prefer making movie soundtracks. But here we are again, doing music now.
It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing.
Now, you might say, is this really a good example of the high art of screwing around? Well, it is screwing around on a rather professional level, but trust me, making music and movie soundtracks and running a recording studio is some kind of screwing around for sure. It's just professional screwing around, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is something I've been at now for 40 years, and after I got laid off in California and decided to move back to Salt Lake, I thought, well, guess I'll be building another studio now in Salt Lake. This is my 6th studio, hence the name Lab 6. As you can see, these things don't just build themselves. It was a lot of work to put this together. It's built in the Redmond building, more on that in a few minutes. And I'm going to be putting up some long format films on the YouTube channel. They won't be the weekly Toyman shows, but that way if you want to see a long form version describing how you build a recording studio, you can watch that. The studio is actually sort of a box within a box. The whole room floats on little rubber feet, and it's kind of a giant wood box floating inside a building. Because the principal function is making movie soundtracks, it's built sort of like a movie theater. It has a big 25-foot screen and a mixing console in the room with the 25-foot screen, but it also has a control room and, of course, all the necessary electronics for recording audio. When I first started off recording audio, we used to record audio on bands of rust, which was kind of inconvenient and messy. Today we record audio on computer hard drives, which is, well, frankly, better. As Mel's movie was the first project done in here, we also had a party to premiere the film and to sort of kick the whole studio off. It was an awful lot of fun.
It don't mean a thing. All you got to do is swing.
So whether we're making movie soundtracks or recording some jazz or recording some other kind of music, We're always having a good deal of fun, and we're getting some really, really interesting projects, and I want to share some of those projects with you because, well, they're really a gas, frankly. Now, I mentioned earlier that we're in the Redmond building, Redmond Movies and Stories. I worked with Redmond many, many, many years ago, and here I am back. Redmond is a rental house. They rent movie equipment for making movies, cameras, grip equipment. They have big trucks to load all of the grip equipment on. They have a couple of the largest grip trucks you will ever see. And there's more to it. There's Radar Remote Studios here. The big truck is Radar 1. It's a complete post-production facility that can be taken out to the movie location. And the small vehicle is Radar Remote. It's sort of a drivable computer with massive capabilities to deal with large camera files. So everything from local TV commercials to films like Skyfall find their way in here. Well, there you go, the recording studio, Lab 6 Studio. I've got a bunch of projects that I'm working on. One of them sort of involving Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it's very interesting and fun. And so if I can do that, I'm going to show you that project. But I thought I'd start off by showing you the recording studio and how all of this stuff kind of comes together. If you haven't been over to the website, you should probably pop over to the website. That would be toymantelevision.com. But you'll notice that right here on YouTube, there's a link for guysHobbyShop.com. Guys Hobby Shop also has links to lab6studio.com and back to toymantelevision.com. You see, it's the internet, and it's a web. It's a worldwide web, and it all ties together and hooks together that way, so it's very cool. So you could reach any of those places from any of those places, and you can also reach back here to YouTube, where you can, of course, subscribe to Toyman Television, which is something that you really should do. Well, I'm not sure how you found this particular movie on the internet. I sure as heck hope you didn't find it boring. And I'll see you here again in 1 week with some more significant screwing around. I'll see you then. Bye.